This year, 2022, marks the 10th anniversary of my second album, Native Son. So I wanted to start a podcast which I'm calling Breezecast to celebrate some of the people who've been a part of my musical journey, and none more so than in the run-up to 2012 when this album was first released. Without this episode's guests, Native Son wouldn't have reached the audience it did, and it certainly wouldn't have been as polished. Not much introduction is necessary for the creators of cult classic records, Bob42jh and Thomas Prime.
What's up, guys?
Oh, yo, what's good?
Man, it's good to hear your voices.
How you doing, guys?
How's it going?
Yeah, it's good to have you on board. Welcome to Breezecast.
Thank you for the invite, Bob. Appreciate it.
Well, absolutely. No, I mean, I could not celebrate 10 years of Native Son without the people who started the label, obviously, who made Native Son possible. So, really good to have you on.
It's an honor to be invited. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
It's a rare treat, Bob. This is the first time your listeners will actually be hearing your voice.
Do you know what? Me and Tom, was it last summer, Tom?
There's been a couple, wasn't there? Yeah,
we did
last year.
We did a little secret webcam stream.
Oh.
Yeah, we did a music stream, dropped the webcam in mid-stream, and then the fans could ask us questions. And not the last stream, not the Nujabesque stream, but the one before that, I jumped on the mic at the end just to say a couple words.
Oh man, and there was me thinking like I was one of the only ones who'd lived to tell the tale that I've seen your face.
Got the exclusive.
You didn't have the exclusive tonight. Yeah. You're a year late. No, it's an honor to be here, but I appreciate you.
We're going to take it way back, obviously, because Cult Classic Records 2011, I'm guessing it started about October time, 2011?
I think it was before that.
I feel like the name finally came in September, did it? And then we was brainstorming it earlier in the year.
Oh, I think what it is in October was the F&F release, if I'm correct, in 2011.
That's it.
And then I would say that me and Tom spoke about it, if I'm correct, I want to say it was like August 2010.
Oh, wow. So
am I off, Tom? We spoke about it, I'd say.
Yeah, no.
Maybe not that early, actually. Maybe not that early, but yeah, a while back before that, you know?
Yeah, summer of 2010 for sure. Probably at D's studio.
Tom, when did Waiting for Tomorrow come out?
I know that got delayed. I feel like it was March 2010, February, March time, 2010.
All right, so it would have been roughly after that. So originally, me and Tom had spoken, I think, just via YouTube DMs.
Yeah,
and
YouTube.
Then we got talking via email because Bob and Tom wanted to send over some music. And it was Waiting for Tomorrow, his debut album.
Yeah.
And he sent that over and there was a couple songs I uploaded. It was the outro, Another Goodbye.
Yeah, there's a few. You'd already uploaded straight at the beginning.
Yeah. And I uploaded that, and then Tom was like, I've got the CDs now. Give me your address, I'll send you one. So I sent him my address, and then he messaged me back. Like, I can remember this actually. I remember the time and everything. It was he messaged me back pretty much instantly. And oh wow, you don't live that far from me. Maybe I can drop it to you. So I remember we organised the day. Tom pulled up, and I met him outside because I live in a block of flats. I went outside to meet Tom, and then I invited him into my house. And I remember me and Tom just chatting for 3-4 hours, Tom?
Yeah, I think we was outside for a good hour, and you was like, yeah, you might as well come in at this point.
You never know who you're going to meet on the internet, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, Tom ended up coming in, and we was just talking, and I remember, my memory isn't great, but I remember a lot of this stuff. And I remember me and Tom at the time, we were just talking about more like compilation stuff like that, because that's what I was doing back then.
Yeah, of course.
So we then linked up again. We made plans to link up again, and then we got talking. And got talking about, you know, how hard it was for him as an artist and getting all the things he needed. And I remember us just talking about starting a label.
Hmm.
And then, you remember this, Tom?
Yes, the notebook.
We had the notebook.
That's cool.
All these little ideas on it.
True.
And what's crazy is, let me see if I can find this now. And, you know, we planned, I don't know if you can see this little chart.
Bob is holding up a master plan right now.
I will send this. I will attach this image. I've done this before. But if you look, so it says record label, which has got a few different ideas. And then you can see, obviously, the magic number. We've got 42. And it's just all our different ideas. And then later on, that became Cult Classic Records. And then me and Tom made this list of artists that we would like on the record label, or we would like on our first release. And
That's cool.
I don't know if you can see it.
Can, yeah.
I'll read it. So we've got A1, L. Jones, Thomas Prime, 2 Days to Alaska, Blazo, Condor, Marcus D, Billy, Shirosky, Breezewax, Berry White, K. Murdoch. And if you remember F&F, the original F&F,
Yeah, I do.
a lot of that came true.
Yeah.
A lot of that came true.
Yeah,
So, yeah, crazy. And look, that's where we came up with a name for it, Tom. Fucking crazy, man.
And you're talking about compilations, wasn't it? Falling Skies.
Fallen Skies.
That was like mid 2011, wasn't it? I remember because I got a feature on that for Distant Rhythms as well. So that was first time like I had reached that kind of audience that you had, Bob. That was really cool. Mad.
I remember that well.
Yeah. At the time you
that's like the first unofficial sort of CCR.
Yeah, that's it. 2011. I was just talking obviously with the guys on the other podcast as well about what a crazy time that was, like a really productive time with obviously like you kind of curated like a really cool what do you call it, either collective or like community, I guess is the word, isn't it, really? Community of artists and listeners as well. And I felt like that was the time when it was really popping off. And at the time that you messaged me, Bob, like which would have been like, I think it's like a month after you launched the label proper, you already had L. Jones and you already had Lee and you already had Eddie, and I could see 2 Days to Alaska. And I was a big fan of his anyway because I was following him on YouTube and watching all his videos and stuff. So the fact that you had all that listed down in your notepad and then you just actualized it, that's impressive, man.
Realised the vision. But do you know what's funny, Breeze? I actually have, and I was looking at them today, all of our original emails.
Yeah, same as. I didn't delete anything.
Yeah, I like keeping stuff like that, you know. It's part of history as well, you know.
Oh, definitely, yeah, absolutely, man. But I ask you guys, how did the name Cult Classic come about, and like, was it difficult to decide on a name together?
Literally, this booklet, that's how it came about.
Yeah, well,
that's how it came about. If you look here, this is the actual page where it comes about. So we've got some random names, and I think this is where Tom was definitely smoking something. This is definitely his handwriting. We've got names like Life Cycle Records.
Yes, I was doing a lot of writing.
And then Static, and then there's some other things, and then we're looking at a combination of our names. And then right at that bottom, we have Cult Classic Records.
Perfect.
And that ended up, well, it started from that, Cult Classics originally, and then became Cult Classic Records.
Yeah. And it worked so well. Perfect.
Yeah, for real. For real. So yeah, no, Cult Classic Records was like a play. Tom, if I'm giving credit, I think Tom was the one who originally said it.
Yeah, I did think of that name, yeah.
But I remember us saying that, I think we got onto that topic because I can remember talking about how I didn't want it just to be a release after release after release. I wanted something that someone's going to find on the net, could be in 5-10 years, and it becomes a cult classic.
Cool.
And then literally I remember everything coming from there. It was a great time, and you're 100% right. You know, I listened to your first podcast the other day, and Yeah, it was a great listen. But yeah, you're right about 2011. That time especially, there was something where I feel like a lot of artists were just coming of age.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. That was definitely true of me. But like, I mean, at the point where you'd reached out to me, I'd similar to Tom, I had a massive delay with the first album. So I released Vagabond in 2010 originally, and you were with Goon Tracks, right, Tom? With
yes.
Waiting for Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was with Infest, who were, I don't know if you remember way back when at the time, like there were these Ghibli of Life and Ghibli compilations coming out with Infest music, and there's a lot of that on YouTube. At the time you could do like, I don't know if you remember, you could do like response videos on YouTube. And I'd made like a...
Yeah, you could, yes.
Yeah. I made an Ashley Tucker beat and responded to Infast, and that's how that relationship with them started off. But the first album was like, not just Vagabond, the album was like 9 tracks I'd done originally. It was like all of the EPs I'd done up to that point. And like, I listened back to it, and then the quality is like, you know, like I'd always had a good ear for samples and stuff, but like, it was a steep learning curve. Like, as I said in the first podcast with Pat and Bill, like there wasn't like the YouTube tutorials and stuff that there are now to kind of learn things quickly. So I was just learning by listening and just pure enjoyment of music. So I feel like it took this kind of union with you and Tom, and I learned so much from that. In the same way, like I remember Tom, you saying to me that with Goon Tracks and with your first record, you learned so much in like an engineering to it, and then you went off and did like took it more seriously and like did a little course and stuff. It was like years before I actually like properly did sound engineering as a course, but I feel like I wouldn't have like gone past that next stage or gone to that next stage really without your help on Native Son. And I remember like so clearly the sessions that we had where we used to drive up like an hour and a half drive up to Essex to go, sit in with you and stuff. And I appreciate it now as well. Like when I think back about how patient actually you were, because there are a lot of things like I was talking earlier about like our email exchanges, and I actually found some of my early demos in those emails, and think about how Native Son turned out and how it was then. And I remember like the first session I was with you, Tom, like you said, just kind of prepare yourself like this is going to sound quite a lot different to like how it does now. And like that was very diplomatically basically saying like, yeah, this is going to sound good.
That's not quite what I meant, but yeah.
But yeah,
I remember I had a similar experience working on my first album, so I knew what was coming.
Yeah, it was like just like properly learning to mix better and stuff. Like the first stuff I sent to you, it wasn't even like in stems. It was like just the tracks and stuff. Like again, I was like reflective of how I was working at the time, which was just like really random stuff. Like instead of using the grid properly, I would and having actual like tracks, a bass track, drum tracks and stuff like that, I would actually be just using like a piano roll and composing stuff and putting that and slicing that together on a timeline. So it was so random. So like there were a lot of just like standard things which I learned just from the few months that we spent working on Native Son proper. So that it was.
I do think it's important though to learn, on your own for a little while first. Like I think we're very fortunate now with YouTube. Like everything that I've learned the last 7 years, really, I've learned from YouTube. Whereas before that, I had to go source an engineer to work and pay him to kind of teach me, and then obviously I had to try and help with you and 2 Days of Asker, trying to pass on the same sort of thing, because there wasn't anything else back then. But there's something that comes with that innocence where you learn your own. That's where you find your sound, and then when you learn to do it properly, you can then keep part of that, and that's what gives like a character and a lot of uniqueness, and a lot of the like great sounds come from things that would probably be technically wrong, should we say that?
Yeah, that's very true, isn't it? Yeah. I remember us speaking like way back when we'd obviously had like influences that included like Nujabes Best, and we're saying like actually technically like it's not like amazing. Like when we're listening to the Samurai Champloo soundtrack, and it was like, you could tell like Fat John was like on a level with his rhythms, his percussions, and the way he'd actually like produce tracks was actually technically superior. Where it's like, but what was it?
Yeah, like how you feel, or how you feel, is it? Like that is really just something magical about that mix and the production and everything on that.
That's it, that Crystal Silence flip, that's it. We were talking about that, but what made New Dub is great, I guess, and what kind of has made him like endure, and like so many people like obviously still listen to his music and it resonates, is there is that soul. Like he'd obviously learned as he'd been going along as well. Like you listen to like what was his first collection? Was it just called First Collection or Hideout Collection 1? The difference between that
Hideout Collection
and he'd end up with a soul, do you know what I mean? But there's that quality that you're talking about, where there's a particular soul to his sound, and that's it. I think thankfully at that point that I came to Native Son, I think that was me basically wanting to say like, okay, I've come so far, but I feel like I can make a much better record than Vagabond. Let's end this first chapter of Breezewax and do something that kind of lives up to the promise, I guess, of all the steps to come. So that was it for me. Yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah, because arguably, I mean, Nujabez's mixes aren't the best, you know. They're not the greatest mixed records. I don't think anyone would really argue, but where there's, like you say, so much soul, and where the source material is so good, like the drum breaks or whatever he's chopped up to do the drums and the samples and everything, they've all got everything that they really need. And then, you know, those records could have just as easily been ruined by someone trying to mix them as they could have been improved, you know. And between working with you and 2 Days to Alaska in that early days of me like mixing other people's stuff, listening to a lot of Nujabez and Dilla and Doom, and like thinking about really what something really needs to be taken to the next level, and not just what you like, oh, it's not like let's mono the kick and put an EQ on it to boost the low end. It's like, what does it really need for the track, you know? And part of that was, you know, people like you and Chris fighting back, pushing back with certain things, and you know, it wasn't the smoothest process. You know, some of these things took a bit longer than an album should have, especially with 2 Days to Alaska. That one went on for quite a while, but you know, it was all worth it, and I learned a lot from it as well. You know, working on both of those projects.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely learned a lot from it as well. So that's amazing. I remember at a time where Native Son fell in the schedule. It was going to be after Alaska's record, which came out in 2018, but it was worth the wait anyway. But like, I remember being like, oh guys, I'm going to move on with the sound. Like, I feel like I want to try different things, but I can't release anything new, obviously, until Native Son comes out and stuff. So again, thanks for your patience on that, because I know I was pushing quite hard for that release in 2012 as well.
But I remember, because we took Impressions Volume 2 before that, wasn't it? And we said, I think we used that as an introduction to our audience of you.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't mix that. I don't think I even mastered that.
No, we had kind of a very quick session. Like, so I'd worked on the mixes and gave them to you, and then kind of have like, would you call it master? Yeah, just quick sessions on them basically.
Yeah, so I must have mastered that. Where that was your first session that you can't. The first sessions you can, was it? Yeah, that's harder to remember. I remember working on Native Son really clearly, but that,
yeah.
I can remember us scheduling Native Son, because around that time, we, in my opinion anyway, we had some solid releases that were just to drop. I think we had, let me actually look. We had the P.R release, Senpai, Thomas Prime's Night and Day EP had dropped before that, Eddie's release, and then after your Native Son, we had the MYK and Shirosky release. So it was around quite a solid schedule.
It definitely was. I remember thinking like Native Son's such a summer release as well, like that's going to be the best time for it. And that video, like We'll See the World, the video for that track 2, like, that climbed so much. I remember, that's such a popular video, it remains to this day. Second only to Climb, which is the track that we collabed on, Tom, and Mark Meredith as well. But yeah, those two. The video has held that a lot, and I think that's one of the things that I was able to bring to that as well. Like, I was really.
I can remember the us talking about like the media, campaign to promote it, and work that went on behind the scenes for that. But I'm really proud of that release. For you as an artist, but for us as a label as well, it's a solid release. For you as an artist, as well, for me as an A&R, I remember you gave me a list of artists you wanted.
Yeah.
And we got them.
Yeah.
I remember it weren't, the rappers you wanted on there, it weren't we got them because we couldn't get someone else.
Yeah.
The people you wanted to work with. And two of them were artists that I had uploaded previously. So to me, that was like a full circle. It was an honor to host that release and to be the A&R for that one.
It's really crazy, like the size of the community and the reach you had. But that was it. Me and Anam, Sean, we chatted just last week actually. So that episode will come out before this one, but you'll have a chance to listen to that. And we were reflecting on just the madness of the internet and being able to connect with people. And he was talking about how we started off as well. But I just think that's such a privilege for me, to actually be creating in the same era as so many other talents, and to have someone like yourself who's curating, but also just so approachable as well, Bob. You always just made yourself available, and I think artists always appreciated that. Part of the fact that you're obviously had this enduring popularity, your stream still driving a crowd of people from way back when, as well as some musicians as well. I think that kind of says quite a lot about what you managed to create at that time. So that's really
for real. It's it never stopped surprising me, or how far that impact was. At the time, you never appreciate these things.
Yeah.
But just last week, I was gaming with a friend of mine, Wolo. Shout out to Wolo, and we was playing Battlefield, which is not the most popular game to be honest right now. And in the chat comment was someone that typed, "Oh my God, Bob42jh, I used to listen to your playlist." And we ended up adding the guy, and he jumped in the Discord. No, it's a testament to the channel. It's a testament to everything. The amount of artists who remained loyal over the years, who dropped by to a stream, it blows me away, and just how loyal the subscribers were. And I called them my friends because I've spoken to these guys for years now. It was always we, not me. I turned down a lot of money, but I stayed true to the community, and the community stayed true to me, man. And you gotta respect it.
What are your thoughts now on, obviously in the time that maybe we've been a bit quieter, or since that kind of peak, there have been so many chill hop, lo-fi channels and stuff that popped up, and kind of I don't want to say they're kind of standing on the shoulders of what you've done, but in a sense it kind of is, in that we had this community beforehand. It's now it's referenced in actual primetime television and stuff. BoJack Horseman was a reference to lo-fi chill, you know what I mean? So it's become a really popular thing. But again, it's kind of a bit faceless. If you know the people inside of it, but also the artist is very circular kind of thing as well. But yeah, do you ever look at it and kind of think, we could have gone in that direction, or anything like that?
Do you know what? It's always a big, tough one for me. There's times where you might struggle for money, whatever, and I think I turned down a lot of money, potential partnerships with people, just because it didn't make sense musically. It made sense from a business point of view, and I feel like I would have done it for the wrong reasons. It was never my intention. If you look at the channel, okay, so originally my YouTube channel, I started with Bob42jh.
Yeah.
And then that became Bob42jh. Why just a random username? because that's what it was. Just a random guy. I'm such a fan of the internet, where a bit like I mentioned earlier, how I wanted our releases to be these releases that people just loved, they searched out, they want to be cult classics. I respected a lot of people and a lot of bloggers back in the day, 2000s, the early 2000s. Shout out to Danny at Defined, Musical Schizophrenia, all these people where you followed them, not the blog. Handful of curators. And I had a lot of respect for that. And again, Bob42jh, Bob, my real name is Bob. 42, that's my old phone number. J and H, that's just my initials. My surname and my middle name. But it's just that, you know, that could be anybody. And that's why I remained faceless. That's why I just had the avatar. And that avatar could have been anybody. And to me, that's the power of the internet.
That's really cool, man. Yeah.
So that's how it started. That's how it should finish in my eyes. Anything that came in between that, that's fair play. But if I now brand myself like this and then delete all my old uploads, and what am I doing it for? Is it the right reasons? But I got nothing but love and respect for anyone who made money off it. Yeah, fair play to you, but I hope the artists make money off it. That's the main thing.
That I really respect the integrity, man, and I know the community does as well. So that's really cool. Tom, like, what does life look like for you now? Like, is it primarily as an artist still, or is it more the engineering side, helping other people?
Well, I took a step back from releasing music for a while, going back to like our original conversation where you're saying about how far that you can come and how much you can change. And I wanted to really have my stuff mixed and ready to put out. And sometimes I wish I just steadily kept releasing music, and then people can watch you grow rather than trying to jump to this thing that doesn't exist, really, this perfection that doesn't exist. But I haven't stopped. I'm probably make more music now than I did when I started Cult Classic records and stuff 10 years ago, and make lots of different genres, mixing, mastering, all that kind of thing. I've released a few songs. I've got some songs coming out with Moderator, who was one of the main Cult Classic, one of the more successful.
Of course, yeah.
And was done really well. Got a couple of tracks with L Jones, and he's got a new project coming out. So even Cult Classics has a few projects coming out. Like I just did one with Akin Yai from Sign, and we done a little mini album, and we released that under Cult Classic Records. Project with L Jones. Got a project with Kadu, who is another CCR artist.
Really
released a project about 2016.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of them. Just before COVID, my girlfriend was diagnosed with cancer, and it's like stage 4 at the moment. So we're trying to kind of redecorate like a house that's down her parents' road so that we can live there. So that's taking up quite a lot of my time at the moment, but still doing music like I always was, and still like trying to make that my full living. You know, I've stopped being an electrician until I started working on this house again. Really busy with music, and really like, you know, probably more motivated and inspired by music than I've ever been at the moment. Just need to start releasing it again. It's the key.
Yeah, I mean,
the rate I'm making it.
I for certain will be looking forward to that, man. Definitely. Tom, Bob, it's just been a pleasure speaking with you again after like 11 years. Again, thank you so much thank you for making Native Son what it is, what it was. It's obviously been a lot for many listeners, but also for me. It was a big jump for me. So I thank you, for all of the things that you've done for not just me, but the community in general.
No, thank you, man. Like I said before, you know, I'm really proud to have my name on Native Son. You know, I'm proud to have worked with you. You're a good person. You've been loyal to my community, been loyal to the label, and I wish you nothing but more success, man. I'm really honoured and appreciate the invite for tonight as well.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual. Yeah, thank you for inviting us here and reminding us how far we've all come. Yeah, good times, good memories, and it was a pleasure working on your track. You know, that was one of the albums that kind of defined me sort of finding myself as an engineer. You know, that's always going to be like have a sort of soft spot for me. You know.